Have you ever looked at an old wooden chair and felt something deeper? Not just comfort, but memory. Not just design, but soul. I used to fill every corner of my home, every hour of my day, chasing the idea of more. More style, more progress, more control. But it always felt loud, busy, exhausting. Then one day, I visited a friend's house in Kyoto. Her living room had almost nothing, just a handmade table, a single vase, and soft sunlight slipping through linen curtains. It was so quiet, and yet I felt more alive there than anywhere I'd been in years. That's when I first heard the word Shibui, a Japanese word that means subtle, quiet beauty, not flashy, not perfect, but full of meaning. It changed how I saw everything, from the cup I drank from to the way I spent my mornings. And today, I want to share that with you. Because maybe, just maybe, life doesn't have to be louder to be richer. So let's take a deep breath and discover the 3 timeless principles of Shibui that can change not just your home, but your whole way of living. There's a kind of beauty that doesn't shout. It doesn't glow under bright lights or demand your attention with glitter and shine. Instead, it waits, quietly, gently, until one day you notice it and wonder how you never saw it before. That's the beauty of Shibui. I remember walking into a small tea house tucked away in a Kyoto alley. The walls were bare, the colors muted, just wood, paper, and the soft hush of nature outside. And yet, the space felt more alive than any luxury hotel I'd ever stayed in. Every object, each cup, each chair, had presence. Not because it was expensive, but because it belonged. Nothing was extra. Everything had purpose. That's the first truth of Shibui. Simplicity is not emptiness, it's intention. In Western design, we often equate minimalism with coldness, white walls, sharp lines, sterile spaces. But Shibui isn't about removing everything. It's about keeping only what matters and letting that speak quietly for itself. Think of a handmade wooden bowl. Its shape is simple, but the grain of the wood tells a story. Or a well-worn linen shirt, plain yet perfectly shaped to your shoulders, soft from years of use. These things don't scream style, but they carry something more powerful: soul. Shibui teaches us to slow down, to see the richness in texture, in light, in space left open. It reminds us that beauty isn't always loud. Sometimes the most powerful things are silent, and that's where the journey begins. Because once you learn to appreciate quiet beauty, you begin to see it in places you'd overlooked for years. And you start to wonder, what else have I missed? Simply because I wasn't looking closely enough. That brings us to the second principle of Shibui, one that redefines the way we see time, age, and imperfection. When I was younger, I believed beauty meant newness, shiny floors, crisp clothes, perfect skin. But the older I get, the more I find myself drawn to things that carry age and story. Like my grandfather's old leather chair. The seat is worn smooth from decades of reading and quiet naps. Its arms hold the shape of his hands, like echoes of time past. And every scratch, every crease tells me, this was lived in. This mattered. That's the second principle of Shibui. Beauty isn't something that fades with time. It emerges through it. In today's world, we're told to cover the gray, polish the surface, throw away the old. But Shibui whispers something different. Let things age. Let them be imperfect. That's where the soul lives. Imagine a ceramic bowl, just slightly lopsided. Its glaze isn't even. You can still feel the potter's fingerprints. It's not flawless, but it feels human. And that feeling stays with you longer than any factory-made perfection. Time reveals the hidden layers, the deepening color of wood, the fraying edge of a beloved shirt, the quiet confidence of something that has endured. This mindset doesn't just change how you see objects, it changes how you see yourself. Your wrinkles become reminders of laughter, your scars become maps of survival, and your story, messy, imperfect, real, becomes something to honor, not hide. Shibui isn't nostalgia, it's presence, a way of seeing the moment you're in, flawed, aging, beautiful, as worthy. And once you embrace that, you begin to welcome other imperfect things into your space, not out of pity, but out of deep appreciation. Because the world isn't symmetrical, and that's exactly where the magic begins. In the next part, we'll explore the third principle of Shibui and how asymmetry and natural form can bring unexpected harmony to your home and life. Stand under a tree and look up. You'll notice no two branches grow the same way. Some twist, some reach, some bend. And yet, the whole tree feels balanced, beautiful, complete. That is the quiet genius of nature. And the third truth of Shibui: harmony doesn't require symmetry. It requires honesty. In the Western world, we're often taught that beauty means balance, perfect lines, equal sides, matched colors. But Shibui invites us to step into a different rhythm, a rhythm that follows the curve of the river, not the edge of the ruler. In traditional Japanese rooms, you'll often see a single flower in an uneven vase, or a scroll hanging just slightly off-center. To the Western eye, it might seem incomplete, but in Shibui, this imperfection creates life. It breathes, because in nature, nothing is ever exactly straight. The wind doesn't blow evenly, the ocean doesn't crash the same way twice, and we, humans, are no different. When we surround ourselves with straight lines and flawless surfaces, we begin to forget the natural rhythm of life. We become obsessed with order, and slowly we lose touch with wonder. But place your hand on a rough clay mug, or let sunlight fall unevenly on a linen curtain. You'll feel something shift inside you, not chaos, but peace. Shibui teaches us to invite this kind of imperfection into our homes, to choose raw wood over polished metal, to hang pictures just slightly off balance, to let things be instead of always forcing them into place. And in doing so, we return to something we've forgotten, that real life isn't symmetrical, and its beauty lies in exactly that. It's not just design, it's perspective. It's learning to see the irregular, the uneven, the natural, as not only acceptable, but precious. And once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. In the next section, we'll take these timeless ideas and bring them into daily life, with simple, meaningful ways to bring Shibui into your home, your habits, and your heart. It starts with a small decision. Not to renovate your entire house, not to throw everything away, but simply to notice. Shibui isn't a style you buy, it's a way of seeing. And once you see differently, you live differently. Start in the quietest room of your house. Look around. Is there a corner that feels loud, crowded, anxious? Now imagine that same corner, with half the objects removed. One handmade lamp, a soft chair, a window left uncovered to let in the light. Suddenly, it breathes. That's Shibui. It doesn't tell you to empty everything. It invites you to keep only what carries meaning. Here are a few gentle ways to begin. Let the light in. Open the curtains. Watch how sunlight moves across a wooden floor. Let that be your decoration. Add life, not clutter. One potted plant, not 10. Let it grow. Let it teach you patience. Choose texture over polish. A clay mug, a woven mat, a linen napkin. Things that invite touch, not just attention. Honor the old. Keep the table with the scratches. Use the bowl with the chip. Let history live with you. Wear your comfort. Choose clothes that breathe, age, soften, that feel like you, not a trend. Silence is space. Turn off background noise once in a while. Let your home hum with its own quiet rhythm. Shibui is not a checklist. It's not about buying Japanese furniture or learning a new aesthetic. It's about presence, about curating a life that feels aligned, intentional, real. And when you live this way, not only does your space change, but you do too. You begin to move slower, to choose more carefully, to listen even when no one is speaking. Because suddenly, you're not just decorating a home, you're shaping a story. One object, one moment at a time. And in our final part, we'll look at that bigger picture. How this shift in attention can lead us to a deeper kind of meaning, far beyond design. Not long ago, I met a woman in her 60s. She had just downsized from a 5-bedroom house to a quiet 1-bedroom cottage. She said, "For most of my life, I bought things to feel full. Now, I keep only the things that let me feel free." Her living room was simple: a handmade quilt, a reading chair by the window, one shelf of books, each one she'd read more than once, and on the table, a single stone. Not polished or rare, just a smooth gray stone from a river she used to walk along with her late husband. She said it reminded her that beauty doesn't have to be new. It just has to mean something. That's what Shibui ultimately teaches us: to stop chasing more and start choosing meaning. It's not about rejecting the world. It's about re-entering it with open eyes, noticing the way wood warms with age, the way silence holds space for thought, the way imperfections carry memory. It's a quiet rebellion in a noisy world, a return to presence, to purpose, to peace. And no matter where you live, whether in a city apartment or a country farmhouse, you can begin right now. Just ask yourself, what around me carries presence? What makes me feel grounded, calm, whole? Keep those things. Let the rest go. And in doing so, you don't just create a more beautiful home, you create a more beautiful life. If this way of seeing speaks to you, I invite you to share one object in your home that tells a story. Something old, something imperfect, something that holds your heart. Drop it in the comments. Let's fill this space with quiet beauty together. And if this video made you breathe a little slower, maybe even smile, consider subscribing, because next week we'll explore another way to live more deeply with less.